Good rising, family. Just wanted to come to you guys real quick and have a little discussion here. I see Paul is going in on this information right here, and I wanted to have a little discussion about this right here. Because if this is true, this is a huge escalation in the events of the world right now. China has entered the war against Ukraine and NATO. He's delivering weapons here, artillery systems, to the Russian army. They got the whole list here on War News 24/7. So I know like a lot of places, a lot of sites take a long time to start getting this information. But I have seen, as I was looking for this information, there's very little information talking about China actually uh, deciding to deliver weapons to Russia. But there were a whole lot of articles pretty much threatening China that they had better not jump in and they had better not um, offer or bring these weapons into the battlefield, and they had better not support Russia. And it's just like the thing is right now is that, like we said before in the last video, these people need to know their role. They still think that they're in their blessing. They still think that all they got to do is just make threats and everyone's just going to jump. And it's amazing because they're still living as if the blessing was going to go on forever. But I mean, before that worked. That's all that they had to do was just pretty much, hey, if I tell you, don't do it, that just means don't do it. Doesn't matter. Don't look at what I'm doing. Don't look at the fact that I'm doing all the stuff I'm telling you not to. You just better not do it. And everyone else just jumped in line and didn't say a word and just let you know these Gentiles and these Edomites enjoy their blessing. But all of a sudden, as you can see, these other nations are now bucking up. And what people, should really be thinking is, why all of a sudden have these nations just started to just buck up and say, hell no, you're not going to tell me what the hell to do. Why haven't they done that before? Where was you know, this might and this power before? See, now you got all these weak nations saying, I am strong, just like it said in the Bible was going to happen. Weak nations are going to be saying, I am strong. They're going to be standing up here at the end. You see, these are the prophecies that the churches, Catholic Church, Christian Church, all these churches have, left out, never taught, never talked about. And now these prophecies are starting to come to pass. And a lot of these people are having to go to like, oh, I'm going to go to these, these new people, and these people are making these new prophecies in the 1950s. And hey, this stuff's in your Bible. This stuff's already there. You do not have the proper understanding of who is who and why these things are happening. You only want to go back 20, 30 years ago. Paul's making a lot of really good points. He's talking about, how are you going to tell China, that, what they can and can't do. I guess they were talking about how, what were they were talking about how we're, oh yeah, NATO and America and NATO said it, they're not just going to let another nation come in and roll over another nation and take them over. And Paul made a lot of really good points in his video today, this evening, talking about, well, that's what we did with Iraq. That's what we did with Libya. That's what we did with Syria. He's making a lot of good points. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what's been going on. But when they were doing it, did you guys have a problem back then? No, you guys were nice and quiet. When they went into Iraq, were you complaining then? See, people weren't complaining back then. When they went into Libya, were you guys complaining back then? No, you guys weren't. You guys just jumped on the train and just rode that train. When they went into Syria, did you guys complain back then? No. But see, all of a sudden now, hey, these spirits are being released. And a lot of you guys are having the scales taken off your eyes, and you're having an opportunity to see the hypocrisy that has been going on. It's like, hold on, we've been doing this the whole time. How can we tell other nations not to do it when we've been doing it? Exactly. But see, the hypocrisy is much bigger than just that. You know, why don't you think about what's happened for the last 400 plus years? What the Spaniards did, what the Europeans did. I said all those events, all those actions are going to have to be paid for. And then when America established themselves, I said, how they treated the natives, how they really, how they pretty much lied about who was already here. They lied about whose lands these are. And they're still lying all the way till today. But what has happened all of a sudden, these last few years, I said that's what you guys really should be concentrating on, because that is really what is, behind everything, and it wasn't about abortion. You guys want I said you guys want to keep on throwing that whole abortion thing out there. I said that's not why all of your your whole society and everything you hold dear is falling apart. It goes back to the scriptures again. Genesis 15:13. Sorry. After we finish up our 400 years, the nation that held us in captivity is going to have to pay. As much as you don't want to believe it, as much as you want to act as if these things have already happened, during the time of Egypt, in the book of Exodus, the Most High is showing you every day that that's not what he was talking about. He's showing you every day, that these countries are now, getting a backbone. They are now, standing up to the bully. So take a look real fast in Genesis 15:13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Just like I talked about yesterday. If you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. If you curse Israel, you're gonna be cursed. All that happened during the time of Exodus, and it's happening again right now. So that's why all of a sudden now the Most High is raising up other nations, and these other nations that were weak before are now saying they're strong. You guys still think that like China's going to have their opportunity and they want to come over here and take over these lands and whatever else. No one's taking over anyone else. And that's again, that goes back to how you don't understand prophecy. And Moab, the Chinese. I said all these people, they all got their blessing after the flood, and everyone's going to go back to those lands eventually. Pretty much the end of going over and taking over other people's lands and everything else, that's coming to an end. And that's something that people are going to have to come to grips with. The cycle of this one nation rising up and taking over the world, and another nation come rising up and taking over the world. That's all coming to an end. The Most High is just using other countries right now to bring down the bully. So, like I said, this is huge. This is a huge event that is taking place right now, and we'll see in the next couple of days if it's true. I'm sure that it is. This is not something that the United States is going to want to broadcast all over the place, because they know it's just it's a death certificate. I said, because there's no way that they can take on two superpowers. There's no way they can take on China, who has 1.5 billion people. You already know that, we already knew that Russia, I think, and China have both already, transferred their economies to wartime economies, where all they're doing is just building weapons. I said, so these things are already, they're not going to want to broadcast that. Bad news is going to be moving real slow, just like the news. of the events over in Ohio, in Palestine, Ohio, that moved real slow. Any bad news that they don't want to talk about, it's not going to be moving quick. It's not going to be like, hey, here's the news, get this out here quick. They're not going to want to do that. They're talking about these weapons that they're going to be delivering to Russia. They're like, oh, it might take a few weeks. How do you know they haven't already been delivering them? How do you know they haven't already been moving them? Says they're not going to just tell you exactly when everything's going on. We know these things have been going on behind the scenes, but again, we must understand that you guys have just ignored the Israelites. You ignore everything that has to do with the Israelites, because everything about us is all these events that are going on are tied to our awakening. Paul was talking about how he has his opinion, that he feels like a lot of these things are going to really ramp up in March. But again, why March? See, many things have been happening in March, but see, we all understand this because it goes back to the new year. It goes back to the spring equinox, equal day, equal night, the new year. And that's when many huge events have been happening for the last few years. We know around 1619 was the beginning of the 400 years because we know that everything started to go to hell in 2019. And pretty much it started in 2019 and around March, and it's gone to hell ever since. It's been going to hell ever since. I said at the end of 2019 was the beginning of, we all know what. By March of 2020, everything was shut down. And again, that goes with our new year. Last February was the beginning of this invasion, this war right here. And now all of a sudden, right we're getting to the end of February, beginning of March, it now looks like it's taken a new escalation, and now China's throwing their hat in the ring. Yeah, I don't need to, I'm not going to read the article. You guys can go check out Paul's video, and he's reading the article and talking about the video, talking about the article and everything else. That's not necessary for us because we already understand that we're already anticipating huge events escalating in March and going from there because it all revolves around the Israelites. See, you guys had your new year. You guys still push the whole January, first is a new year and everything else. But the Most High is going to show you when the real new year is. As I said, you have you guys have the Gentiles have their breakdowns of things and whatever else, and the Most High confirms the truth through us. The real new year is coming here in March. Depending on which calendar you observe, might be around March 17th. Whenever it's the equal day and equal night, might be around March 20th. They do it around March 20th, March 21st. So it all kind of depends on which calendars you observe. But it's all about the spring equinox, equal day, equal night, and the beginning of that, starting this new year. So, like I said, as we get closer and closer to that, anticipate bigger and bigger events. All bets are off now. I said because the Most High is restoring His people and He's destroying the other nations. Feels like there's actually a little earthquake going on over here while I'm doing this video right now. Kind of waiting to see if it's gonna. Feels like it's kind of small. I'm waiting to see if it's gonna actually pick up a little bit. Okay. Like I said, yeah, there was that huge CME from the sun that's about to be here today, hit today. So we know that can actually bring earthquakes. And I kind of feel one going on right here in Cali right now while I'm doing this video. You guys feel the earthquake? Yeah, I'm not sure. So But yes, like I said, it's just we are in amazing times. Things are only going to get crazier and crazier. The other nations are going to, they're going to lose their minds more and more every day because they have no idea as to why. Because they have set up everything to revolve around them, but none of these events revolve around them. All of these events revolve around the Most High's chosen people. The more that we grow, the more that we get closer to the Most High, the more that we do self-reflection, the more that we get ourselves together, the more that we get closer to the Most High, the more that we, get a better understanding of the scriptures, the more we get, we can take this esoteric understanding and keep growing with it, the more we break away from the rest of the world, the more we break away from their understanding, the more we break away from their breakdowns, the worse it gets for them. The worse it's going to continue to get for them as well. Because nothing at this point, the curses are on them physically, mentally, and spiritually. And the blessings are coming back to the Most High's chosen people. So, like I said, it's time for us to continue to grow, to continue to assume the positions that the Most High has given us. We are the teachers of this world. We are the leaders that the Most High has set up, and it's time for us to assume those positions. So, and the other nations are eventually going to see it. Some earlier than others. Okay, but yes, but like I said, this is a huge article talking about all of these weapon systems that are going to be delivered to Russia, and how it's going to be a game changer on the battlefield. And you know, and hey, Russia, China's thrown their hat in the ring. They're sick and tired, I'm sure, of being told what they can and can't do by someone that owes them trillions and trillions of dollars, who still thinks that they're in a position to be dictating what everyone else is going to be doing. See, the rest of the world has been watching, you know, these Western nations and watching the stuff that they do and watching the hypocrisy. They just haven't been in a position to, react to it, or to say anything about it. But now the Most High's put a spirit on them, and they're reacting, and they've already seen the hypocrisy. See, we were blinded, so we didn't see a lot of the hypocrisy. They've been seeing it. They've been watching it. They know the hypocrisy. That's why, when they get the opportunity to say a little something once in a while about so-called black people and the way they treat us, they say a little something. They don't go too far, but they say a little something. But they are totally well aware. They haven't been asleep. They've been awake. They know about the prophecies. They know how we're going to awake here at the end. They know they're going to get their opportunity to get at it, to get at these other nations. They know they're going to get their opportunity to go at the United States and NATO and all of them. I said, so they all know they're going to get their opportunity. I said, that's all part of this. And they know that the Most High is going to use them, to bring destruction to the people who have been destroying the Most High's chosen people. They know this. That's why I said they're walking around with their chests all out now. Before, they had their heads down, didn't say a word to America. All of a sudden now they're standing up with the chests out, saying, hell no, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And where was this? I said, where was all this courage before? I said, but all of a sudden they didn't have it before, but they have it now. And you said that's that spirit of the Most High that is being pervasive and is now moving through the earth. So many of these nations that have said that they are weak, they were weak before. Now they're saying they're strong. Now you're seeing prophecy being fulfilled. So now we're going to see how this is all going to start to play out. We know it's going to get nothing but more intense as we get closer and closer to our new year. Now, the other nations, you have your opportunity to see why we say the things that we say, why we're telling you things are going to get worse as we get into the middle of March, because we know that that's the true new year, and that's what's been happening, and that's what's going to happen, continue to happen going forward, and it's only going to get worse. And then we're moving into next year where we're going to be having, the 7-year cycle of the eclipse, and that X is going to be coming over the United States. So, you imagine what's coming. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.